Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. I've been away on vacation for a couple of weeks, but I'm back. So welcome to today's event. We're here to talk about accounting end-of-year cleanup webinar. First of all, the sub topic alluded to in the event that we would be covering or talking about W-2s today. We are not. The W-2s, we will have another event here between now and the end of the year, but simply the 2023 W-2s are not yet available in Atrix, so we're not going to be covering W-2s today. Rachel and I have already discussed it. We will be having another event that will detail those here in the next 6 weeks between now and the end of the year. So stay tuned for that. You may certainly go back and revisit the one from last year if you wish. As far as we are aware, that has not changed in terms of Atrix, in terms of how those are generated. But what I think has changed is, of course, the new threshold of the minimum max, or the 10 required now for e-filing versus the 250. The government's reduced that number, and so this is a very important topic. We're going to be definitely going through that in detail at some point. Okay. So anyway, again, keep an eye out for a webinar on the W-2s, producing W-2s or generating those between now and the end of the year. All right, so we as the software developer for Church Windows see all kinds of problems that users have or that occur at the end of the year, notably with regards to moving from one accounting year into the next, whether those be technical or just simply oversights or, folks not paying attention. We see everything, okay? And so we kind of wanted to sort of talk about some of those now. And it makes sense, because you can begin looking at those now. And we're going to be looking at this at the data as of November 16th in this case, but you're going to be wanting to look at this probably closer to 12/31 if you're on an accounting year, calendar accounting year, okay? So the first thing that we strongly recommend you do is when you go into reports and financial, look at your balance sheet, okay? So whether I'm running it for November or December at this point doesn't matter, because unless I've got transactions dated after 11/16, the same balances are going to show. Okay, it's possible. Okay, so here we are looking at our balance sheet. All right, this is, statement of financial position, whatever you decide to call it. But what we really want you to look at are this section called liabilities. Okay, check liability balances. All right. If they're legitimate balances, and especially when you get closer to the end of the year, if they're legitimate balances like our payroll taxes, maybe that through the payroll at the end of December that we're not going to pay until January, that's fine, okay? If it's a balance that is going to be brought forward into the next accounting year and won't be paid until next year, great, no problem. But the ones that we're more concerned about here are those that we know we don't owe, okay? Ones that should not have a balance, okay? In whatever capacity that occurs. Like notably here under accounts payable, you see I've got a negative 866.67 in that account. I should not have a balance under accounts payable. If I'm living and working on a cash basis, I enter those bills, I pay them. Accounts payable should always be zero, okay? Again, crop walk in terms of a pass-through or disaster relief recovery, that's fine if I'm not expecting to write that check for those particular vendors and payees until the next year, okay? So this just begins to introduce the topic of look and see what you still have as unpaid balances or outstanding balances to vendors or payees, whether they're liabilities or accounts payable, okay? The other part of that also kind of ties back into the section on the one report that we had about view outstanding bills listed, okay? Where we see this so often is when folks go to pay bills, quick pay, and view outstanding bills, we see bills here that should not be here. And you definitely don't want to let these go for too long. You really want to deal with them quicker faster, and don't let them slide. You know, you got to get these things resolved. Okay. If you're unsure about why the balance is there are ways to resolve that and try to figure that out. Okay. So typically now, this is one that we are going to kind of cover here really kind of quickly, is we notice Columbia Gas is from March 15th. It has a 0 account balance, but it has an amount due of $545.79. That tells me with complete certainty that I had a bill on March 15th for $545.79, and it's 99% sure that with the account balance of 0 that bill was paid. Okay. That is on the top of that document on the area where it says outstanding bills with a 0 balance. Okay. This is a very common support call for us, and it's really simple to solve. Okay. The other one, though, for AEP, American Electric Power, for account balance, which is the same as the amount due, of course, is always the amount of the bill for that particular line item or transaction. I've got a bill out here outstanding for August 15th, 2023, that is the same as the amount due. Now, that could be a couple different problems, and that kind of then moves into that section on the report where it's talking about outstanding bills with an account balance. And if you really want to talk about getting tricky, what about in those situations where the account balance and the amount due are different? So we're typically then looking at a couple different problems at that point, okay? But to try to really get to the bottom line about it is that, folks, this is the nature of forensic bookkeeping, okay? You don't want to speculate. The data tells us exactly what's going on. As I said, account balance of 0 confirms that this bill was paid on March 15th. The one for 8/15 with AEP, that could be a couple different things. So I need to go in and look at that and see what's going on. All right. So notating the date and the vendors on these, I want to go in and look at these vendors. And I do so by going into my chart of accounts, and I find American Electric Power. All right. I just confirm here. If I go to balance, would help, Josh, if you picked the right account, American Electric Power. There they are. Right here, August 6/33. And if you're unsure, check that for those vendors, okay? And we would do the same thing maybe for, I think the other one was what, Columbia Gas. And if we go there, and it has a 0 account balance. This just helps us narrow down where a balance may come from, and you're going to see that in a minute here when we look at view vendors with a balance, okay? But I simply go up to transactions, browse, go right up here to change year, filter, and sort. I'm now going to let the software do some work for me by unclearing all of my transactions and choosing just bills. And over here on the far left, I'm unchecking show paid and simply clicking OK. And what do you know? Here are my 2 bills that are outstanding, okay? Notice one from March, one from August. Okay, the one from March is easy. Again, account balance of 0. I'm going to highlight that bill. I'm going to click correct. I'm going to choose mark as paid. I'm going to scroll down and find the March of 2023 bill. Where is it? There it is for the $545.79. Highlight that, click OK, and save corrections. It's that simple. It now removes that bill from here because it no longer meets the criteria of an unpaid bill. Now the one for AEP, that's a little different. I'm going to have to get a little bit more creative with that. So I'm going to go in and find that vendor specifically. I'm going to choose American Electric Power. It was in June, I think, or August, right? So I'm going to run that for the month of August, and I want to see what's going on. And when I look at this, I see, aha, I have a bill with no payment. It could have been that I had 2 bills in 1 payment. Okay, but somehow I didn't get that bill or that payment recorded for AEP in August. Okay, so it doesn't mean I didn't not pay the vendor or anything else. It just means that I didn't enter the bill and the payment in Church Windows. I can now safely go back into Pay Bills, record that payment, backdating it into August if I wish. All right, and I need to do that because I paid that bill. Okay. So I'd backdate it here, maybe even backdate it 15th, choose my appropriate payment method. We're just going to choose EFT and make sure that Pay Now is checked, and I'm going to click Post. Okay? That will get rid of that. But if, again, I'd run it for August and there were 2 bills in one payment, one of those would have not been marked as paid and I would reverse it. Okay? You cannot speculate, folks. You've got to let the data tell you what's going on here. All right? The other thing, view vendors with a balance. This one is always tricky because even if I go in here now and I post this payment here, right? So I post that payment. I now go back into Quick Pay, view outstanding bills. They should be gone now. There should be nothing under view outstanding bills. And there's not. So let's go back to our balance sheet and visit that and see what that looks like now, okay, for either November or December. It doesn't matter. Now, looky here. Now I've got an accounts payable balance of negative $1,500. What gives about that? Well, one of the important things to keep in mind about pay bills and Quick Pay and view vendors with the balance is this only shows vendors with a positive balance, not a negative balance, okay? So I would need to go in and run a different report. And I'm going to go to Reports, Worksheets, and Accounts Payable. We're going to leave it as Accounts Payable List. We're going to uncheck Show Unpaid Invoices and Vendors with a zero balance and click Print. And here we go. So we've got Alex's Plumbing in here with a negative balance. Okay, now I've got to really dive in and look. So again, I'm going to go back to my chart of accounts. I'm going to find Alex's Plumbing. And here I've got, did I not choose that? Oh, I did. I think it's down here. No, I did not. Alex's Plumbing. Click on that. Here it is. Go to the balance. And sure enough, I've got a negative balance in November of 2023. So I can go to look at the transactions, or I can go to my Detail tab and click Print, running it for the month of November. Alex's Plumbing is pre-selected. I now click Print. And what do you know? Opposite of what I had for the other one, I've got a payment with no bill. So I would now need to go back in and enter the bill for Alex's Plumbing and go back in and mark it as paid after I'm done. Okay? This is all covered in that view or that outstanding bills document, folks. Okay? Forensic bookkeeping. Also, at Pay Bills, go into View Vendors with a Balance. If you've got a vendor in here that has a balance that should not be here, you can post a journal entry to clear it out. My pension payable was a balance that was brought forward from the end of the 2022 year, and I don't know why it's there, but I want to clear it out. Okay? So it's $469.58. Simple journal entry to go in and post that and clear that out. Other, transactions, other, journal entry. I can date it any date I want in 2023, but I'm going to do it today. I can put in comments, clear vendor balance from prior year. So then I do pension payable. Here's my pension payable. I'm going to debit it $465.58. And we're going to credit that balance back to a fund, maybe my general fund. Okay? Not general tithes and offerings, Josh. That's not what you wanted. Okay? General operating fund. Credit $465.58. Done, add to batch. I want to use show running balance and confirm that it is, in fact, I'm sorry, that was I was wrong. So it was not $469. See, show running balance shows that the adjusted balance is still $4. I have to fix that. So we're going to make that $469.58 under both sides. I wrote that figure down wrong. Done, add to batch, show running balance, 0. It's doing exactly what I want. Okay? So I can now safely post this knowing that that pension payable count is now clear and I will never see it again. Okay? Again, folks, there are ways with bookkeeping that we can get this stuff cleaned up before we let it ride out too long. Please do that. I have opened up my 24 accounting year. So if I go back into 24 now, I now have to go up and update my beginning balances because I've now changed those December 31st balances. All right? Special functions, manage years, update beginning balances from prior accounting year ending balances. Click yes. Okay? Just want to point out again, I didn't go in and re-enter that bill for Alex's Plumbing. okay? So it doesn't matter when I run my balance sheet, but that negative balance under accounts payable is going to continue to show until I deal with it, okay? When I go back in and deal with it in last year in 23 or this year, I'm going to clear that out, update my beginning balances. That will be 0, okay? Folks, you may also need to rework your chart of accounts. Here's the thing about the new year is, and start it now, okay? Get in there and rework those budget amounts. Get in there, change the chart of accounts, okay? You can edit accounts anytime, all right? So go in, if you need to make a sweeping change to the chart of accounts, maybe go up to special functions, change account number structure. Here you've got an exclusive access. Account number before renumbering, account number after renumbering. You can literally come in here and just go down the list and make changes to those account numbers, okay? It's not changing them in any other accounting year. It's only changing them in this case in 24, okay? This is a really good time for me to make changes to both my account numbers and my account names in 24 because I've got 6 weeks to go. All right. Absolutely. The question I just got asked was, can you change an account name? No question about it. Go right here under Manage Accounts, click right down here in any one of my account names, and I can go right down the list here. Let's say I want to go down to some of my expenses, and I go, all right, I want to add the word expense to my gas expense account. So add gas expense. See, I can change any of the names. I just can't have them have the same 2 accounts with the same name. So if I wanted, it could, I mean, I'm just using that as a simple example, but sure, absolutely. Any accounts can be changed the same way right there, okay? I can change numbers right here at the chart of accounts too. Don't have to go into if I've got just a couple of accounts I'm going to change, I'm going to do it right here. I'm not going to go to that change account number structure to do that, okay? Folks, it's a good opportunity to go in and edit your subtotals and manipulate those as well, okay? Changing accounts and subtotals here in 24 is not changing them in 23 or earlier, okay? Enter, edit your budget amounts by going up to Budgets and Budget. Edit those budget amounts. Highlight the account. Go, oh, my loose offering budget for next year is going up in 24. We're going to make that $1,700, not $1,500. Tab over, and it changes it for all of the quarterly and monthly totals. I can uncheck budgeted accounts and check new ones if I wish, okay? You have a good time to edit this information now rather than waiting. So again, I'm being asked if I change an account number for 24, will it affect the account number in 2023? Again, changing the account's names or numbers in 1 year does not change those same account names or numbers in any other accounting year. It does not. All right, finally, we're going a couple minutes long here, folks, on this topic, but I think this is probably one of the most important things that folks overlook. And that is when you go into special functions, manage years, delete unused accounts, okay? So if I go into delete unused accounts, it shows me a list of all of the accounts that it sees are eligible for deletion, in this case in January of 2024. There's no audit history here, there's no account balances in these accounts, and it even shows the last date that the account was used. Everything is going to be in here probably. Most things are going to be in here if they've not had activity in the past 24 months, okay? But it shows you the type of an account it is. This is probably, folks, like I said, one of the most underutilized functions in the software. Folks are convinced that, deleting an account from 1 year affects other accounting years. It simply doesn't, okay? You can clean up, get rid of vendors you haven't paid in a while or haven't used in a couple years, okay? If you need to, you can always add them back to the chart of accounts and pay them in the future. But you may have a chart of accounts that you're only using half the accounts on. You literally can just go down the list and put a check mark in each one of the accounts that you're wanting to get rid of and click delete selected accounts, and boom, it just removes it from 2024. Doesn't remove it from any other accounting year, okay? So utilize this feature. It helps keep your chart of accounts under control and manageable each year. This should be done every single year, okay? If you're unsure, again, you delete an account you shouldn't have, you simply add that same account back to the chart of accounts again, okay? And it's back in there to use again, Okay? Folks, utilize those documents that we've attached, print those out, use them. They will help you. Don't let those balances linger if there are monies that you don't owe. And if you require assistance, please let us know, 800-533-5227, or email us to support@churchwindows.com. That is where I'm going to leave the topic that we're going to cover for today.